listen, I am definitely of the opinion, that we should have some DEI hires in this administration. You know, the ones that definitely earned it, because clearly we've got a bunch of incompetent fools that are trying to run our country, and actually they are running our country. They're running it straight into the ground.
As much as Trump and Republicans hate to accept it, we are still a country with laws. And when you break them, there are consequences.
Strap in, because Jasmine Crockett is coming in hot. She's taking on JD Vance and the Trump administration, and she's not pulling any punches. The misinformation, she's done with it. When the truth is under fire, Crockett steps up, and she's anything but quiet, fierce, unapologetic, and armed with facts. She's setting the record straight. If you thought the political scene was already wild, think again. This no-holds-barred takedown might just change how you see it all.
You know, the lack of cohesiveness on that side is why this has been the most unproductive Congress. People all over X and everything is like, well, they don't deserve anything. They're so unproductive. Let me tell you, the people that y'all keep putting in charge are the reason that we are unproductive, because they don't understand how to govern. And honestly, they don't even have a will to govern. And the fact that they are allowing somebody who basically is a shadow president to come out and tell them what to do, including Donald Trump, because listen, we know that Elon, as they have touted about how they need to get rid of the immigrants. Let me be clear. Elon cannot become president of the United States because he is an immigrant who has gained U.S. citizenship later on in life. So he's not qualified to be, or he's not allowed to be under our Constitution. So instead, he decided that he was going to buy a president. And right now, he is pulling all the strings on Trump.
Jasmine Crockett didn't just clap back at JD Vance and the Trump administration. She obliterated them. When it comes to exposing political chaos and calling out straight up lies, Jasmine's not just in the fight, she's leading it with enough fire to light up a whole city. And believe this, she held nothing back. No one's off limits when Crockett's got the mic, especially not JD Vance, a guy who seems more lost in his own spin than actually grounded in Ohio. Then there's the ever chaotic Trump administration, less of a political force, more of a full-blown circus. Except here, the clowns aren't funny. And the lions, they're hungry.
FBI. But my concerns as ranking member of this subcommittee, as a member of Congress, and as an attorney, as well as a citizen, are based on things called facts. And when I say facts, I mean clear, indisputable facts, not those alternative facts my Republican colleagues continue pushing onto the American people.
Definitely. Here's a bold and witty rewrite that keeps the sass while sharpening the delivery. But this isn't just about JD Vance. Bless his heart for thinking he carries any real political weight. No, this is about something much bigger, the delightful chaos that is Donald Trump, a spectacle that seeped into every corner of American life, from his Twitter tirades to his uncanny talent for turning every sentence into a cringeworthy audition for America's Got Talent Trainwreck Edition. Trump has spent years turning political discourse into a punchline, and somehow, every time he steps up to a mic, the nation collectively holds its breath, knowing full well the next headline is probably already writing itself. Spoiler, it's almost never good.
And I'm tired of it, because I didn't come to this chamber to play games. I came to this chamber to answer to the people, the American people, and to make sure that we keep the American people safe. And if we don't get something done, as they talk about the border, I do want to be clear, the only reason we haven't gotten funding for the border is because they killed, the House Republicans here, killed the bill that they actually sent us from the Senate side. If they want to do some work, let me tell you something. The Democrats are ready, and it seems like the Senate Republicans are ready too. They just need to get...
If you're into this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because it only gets wilder from here. Enter Jasmine Crockett. Like a lioness on a mission, she doesn't just come for JD Vance. She drags Trump and his entire circus of lies, gaslighting, and political chaos straight into the spotlight. Let's be honest, Trump's the kind of guy with more skeletons in his closet than a haunted mansion. The only difference? His skeletons don't even try to hide anymore.
But also, when it comes down to like Trump being able to pick talent, let's just do a quick evaluation. I mean, when we look at Rudy Giuliani, I know that Rudy Giuliani has lost everything, from his law license to his money to his dignity. Heck, he was even losing his hair dye, okay? Like, he has lost everything, along with any other lawyer that's ever associated with him. And so now we get to JD Vance. When he picks a VP running mate, And he also picked another loser, right? Like, because now the single cat ladies are coming for their ticket. Like, I mean, this guy is a loser. And I just need America to step up one more time and remind him, just like they reminded him 4 years ago, that he's a loser and he is only good for entertainment. But when it comes to running this country, we need someone who is serious.
That's exactly who Jasmine Crockett had to go up against. But she doesn't tiptoe around his administration's failures. She comes in swinging, with the precision of a truth teller and the impact of a wrecking ball. The moment she calls out Trump, you know it's about to get real. It's the ultimate face-off. One person armed with facts and fire, the other stringing together random buzzwords and calling it policy. So what does Trump do when cornered by the truth? He goes full classic mode, deny, deflect, pretend nothing ever happened. But Jasmine's not playing that game. She's here to take the lies, shred them, and toss them like confetti.
Ultimately, each of you knows enough to know that at the end of the day, it is citizens that sit on a grand jury that are the ones that decide whether or not evidence exists to go forward with an indictment. And ultimately, when this president was convicted by a jury on the state level.
Let's take a moment to appreciate the Trump administration's proud legacy of chaos, confusion, and not much else. Remember when Trump tried to sell himself as the great working class hero? It was like he thought being president meant running a budget-starved reality show, complete with empty promises and zero understanding of basic economics. Sure, he talked about jobs, but they rarely reached the people who actually needed them. Instead, he handed out tax cuts to the wealthy and called it a win for the little guy. That's not policy. It's like tossing a cookie to a starving man and calling it a 5-course meal. And this is where Jasmine Crockett steps in, with facts, fire, and zero tolerance for nonsense. She breaks it down like a no-nonsense teacher, in a classroom full of students who think they know history, but can't name a president besides Trump. Her message is clear. Trump didn't lift up the middle class. He just sold them a fantasy and hoped they wouldn't notice the fine print.
Tell you one thing that is crumbling for the city of DC was that continuing resolution that defunded approximately $1 billion from them, but I will focus on today's hearing. The Republicans' recklessness and chaotic approach to reducing the size of government has shown us what we've already known. Concepts of a plan don't work. It's not just going to be Democrats who miss out on Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security, or only Democratic veterans who miss out on their VA benefits. Their approach will negatively impact all Americans. So it's unfortunate that Republicans have taken a seemingly bipartisan issue and included it as part of their scam to subsidize tax giveaway for billionaires. They haven't proposed anything that will improve the efficiency of the government. Instead, they have put the country on a path to a recession and implemented the largest tax increase on Americans in decades through Trump's tariffs. This hearing is their latest attempt to try to convince the American people that dismantling public-facing agencies will somehow improve government efficiency. Let me tell you.
In fact, if you're part of the middle class, Trump probably assumes you're the kind of person who can't fold a fitted sheet, and therefore your problems just don't make the cut. But hey, as long as he's throwing stacks of cash at the ultra wealthy, that should magically solve everything, right? Jasmine Crockett's not falling for it. And honestly, neither should you. Anyone who's paid attention to Trump for more than 5 minutes knows the man handles a crisis like he's blindfolded, juggling flaming swords, and hoping for the best. His pandemic response, it played out like a chaotic game show. Who wants to be a leader? Only the prize wasn't $1 million. It was a full-blown global health disaster, and Trump's grand solution, downplay it, delay action, deny the science. By the time things got serious, it was already too late. Let's not forget this is the same guy who suggested people inject bleach, as if that was somehow the breakthrough we were all waiting for. If there were an award for avoidance and leadership, he'd take home the trophy, the crown, and probably ask for a reality show deal on top.
You are not concerned. When I walk into Congress every single day, you know why I don't feel away and why you can't make me doubt who I am? Is because I know that I had to work 10 times as hard as they did just to get into the seat. When you look and you compare me to Marjorie Taylor Greene or me to Lauren Boebert, there is no comparison. And that is the life that we have always lived. So the only people that are crying are the mediocre white boys that have been beaten out by people that historically have had to work so much harder. power. This is why they don't want us to have education. This is why they are trying to literally say we won't fund the HBCUs, because they know that if they've already gone after affirmative action and they're saying, you know what, don't allow them to come into, say, these PWIs, as we call them, don't allow them to come into these institutions. We know why they created the HBCUs in the first place. It was because they wouldn't allow us into the white...
Oh, JD Vance. Remember when he was the poster child for political identity confusion? One day red, one day blue. But what he did know for sure was that he couldn't stand Donald Trump. When JD threw his hat into the political ring and tried to take on Trump, it was like watching a toddler have a meltdown at a black tie dinner. No chill, no filter. He came out swinging, calling out the orange man like he'd just discovered the worst Twitter account in existence. JD, Trump wasn't just a political rival, he was the villain in JD's personal comic book. A stain on the Republican Party, a walking, talking reason why America was in crisis. And JD didn't just disagree, he lit him up, calling Trump a charlatan and a danger to democracy. It was like he was waving a giant banner that screamed, "Look at me, I'm not part of that crazy circus." Basically yelling, "I swear I'm the only sane one in the room, totally not one of them, right?"
And so one of the takeaways is not just that the Republican Party base is somehow fundamentally flawed in a way that's unique in American political history, it's that Trump is a really bad candidate, and frankly, I think a really bad person.
But JD didn't stop at calling Trump a joke. Oh no, he cranked it up a notch, calling Trump's rhetoric toxic. And let's be real, toxic in politics is like calling a haunted house a little spooky. It's a word that hits hard and leaves a lasting mark. JD didn't just think Trump was bad at policy, he acted like Trump was single-handedly demolishing political discourse with a wrecking ball of chaos. Then of course JD couldn't resist taking a shot at the "Make America Great Again" slogan, practically mocking it as a rallying cry for America's darkest corners. Boy, did he roast it. JD painted Trump supporters as people stuck in a delusional time warp, desperately clinging to a version of America that only lived in their fantasies. It was like he was calling them out for living in a sepia-toned dream, while he struggled to cram his feet into political boots that clearly weren't made for him.
And my biggest problem with Trump, I mean, and there are many, many things to pick out, but my biggest problem with Trump is that his message to the right, especially the white working class of which I came from, is anti-conservative.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him. And I've noticed this willingness from people who think a lot like I do that, look, we told you so. To all these white working class voters, we told you so. We told you that Trump...
But hold up, Jasmine Crockett wasn't having any of it. She didn't just sit back. She came out swinging, tearing apart the pretentiousness and outright lies. How can a guy who once called Trump a bad person now be teaming up with him? As vice president, she laid out the brutal truth about how the administration's inaction cost thousands of lives. This wasn't just a mistake. It was a level of incompetence only possible if you think your job is tweeting, not actually leading a country. But hey, Trump's got a golden toilet to help scrub away the guilt, right? Then there's the economic mess Trump left behind. Here's a man so obsessed with his own brand, he probably thinks selling himself is the same as creating real, sustainable jobs. Spoiler alert, it's not. Jasmine didn't just take aim at his tax cuts for the wealthy or his Wall Street love affair. She nailed him for turning a national crisis into a joke. Meanwhile, the average American worker is stuck holding the bag while Trump parties with his billionaire buddies. But what else is new? The guy's been living in a bubble for so long he probably thinks inflation is the name of a new nightclub at Mar-a-Lago.
So here's the point. We have people in this chamber that are actually causing just as much a threat, if not more of a threat, to our own country. We should be talking about holding our very own accountable for the misinformation and disinformation that they are spreading, whether it's coming out of China, whether it's coming out of Russia, or whoever is peddling it. It is a problem because right now what we see is that people are dying and we cannot get the support that we need from the public because they continue to peddle lies. And I'm tired of...
And then there's the cherry on top, the entire "Make America Great Again" slogan. What does that even mean anymore? It's like a bumper sticker that sounds vaguely patriotic but offers zero substance. Jasmine Crockett isn't letting him off the hook though. She's calling out the irony, mocking the fact that the slogan wasn't about real progress. It was a nostalgia trip for a time when everything seemed simpler if you were a rich guy trying to make even more money. And it's not just the tweets, it's how Trump actively fueled division, turning the country into a reality show where each episode was more chaotic than the last. But that's Trump for you, always turning everything into a spectacle while leaving real issues in the dust. Jasmine Crockett isn't letting this slide. She knows what's at stake and calls out Trump's lies like a pro, making it crystal clear his version of great wasn't great for anyone except himself.
Take a full-fledged criminal and make him the president of the United States, and then they want to act aghast when he does criminal things. Let me tell you, we have a thug in charge of the United States, and if we don't wake up, we may not have a United States, because right now he has only been successful in being a divider.
Jasmine Crockett's takedown of JD Vance and Trump is a masterclass in exposing lies with precision and delivering them with a punch that leaves no room for escape. It's witty, sharp, and above all, true. While JD Vance is still fumbling through the political game, Trump's doing his best to prove that reality is stranger than fiction. And Jasmine, she's here for all of it. In the end, both JD Vance and Trump find themselves caught in a whirlwind of lies, deception, and ignorance that Jasmine Crockett isn't afraid to call out. It's like she's standing at the edge of the political stage, pointing at the chaos and saying, look at this mess, and let's all take a moment to laugh at how ridiculous it is. Because if there's one thing this whole disaster has taught us, it's that sometimes the only thing you can do is just sit back and laugh.